The vast expanse of space stretched endlessly before the UES horizon as Captain Zara Phoenix stood on the bridge, her emerald eyes fixed on the shimmering anomaly that had appeared without warning. The stellar phenomenon pulsed with an otherworldly energy, casting ethereal light across her sharp features and raven-black hair that she kept pulled back in a practical bun. At 28, she was the youngest captain in the United Earth Fleet, known for her quick thinking and unwavering determination. "Captain, we're receiving a transmission," reported Lieutenant Torres from the communications station. "It's from the Nexari vessel approaching from Sector 7. Zara's heart quickened. This was the moment humanity had been preparing for. Over 3 years since first detecting the alien signals, the Nexari Empire had finally agreed to meet for diplomatic talks, and she had been chosen to lead this historic first contact mission. On screen, she commanded, smoothing her navy blue uniform. The view screen flickered to life, revealing a figure that took Zara's breath away. The alien stood tall and graceful, with luminescent skin that seemed to shimmer between silver and pale blue. His features were elegantly angular, with high cheekbones and eyes that glowed like liquid starlight. Most striking were the delicate patterns that traced along his temples and neck, pulsing gently with bioluminescent energy. He wore robes that seemed to be woven from cosmic dust itself, flowing and shimmering with each movement. "Greetings, humans." Of Earth, the alien spoke, his voice carrying a melodic quality that seemed to resonate through the ship's hull. "I am Ambassador Kithian of the Nexari Empire. We come in peace to begin what we hope will be a prosperous relationship between our peoples." Zara found herself momentarily speechless, captivated by the alien's presence. There was something in his glowing eyes that seemed to see directly into her soul, creating an instant and inexplicable connection that defied logic. "Welcome, Ambassador Kithian," she managed, stepping forward. "I am Captain Zara Phoenix of the United Earth Fleet. We are honored by your presence and eager to begin these historic negotiations." Dr. Elena Vasquez, the mission's xenobiologist, leaned forward with barely contained excitement. Her dark hair framed an intelligent face as she studied the alien with scientific fascination. "Ambassador, if I may ask, are those markings natural, biological features, or cultural modifications?" Kithian's expression softened into what might have been amusement. "They are gifts from our homeworld's twin suns, Dr. Vasquez. They reflect our emotional states and serve as a form of nonverbal communication among our people." As he spoke, Zara noticed the patterns on his skin brightening slightly, and she wondered what emotion they might be indicating. The thought sent an unexpected warmth through her chest. "Captain," interrupted Commander Torres urgently, "the anomaly is expanding. Our sensors are detecting massive gravitational fluctuations. The stellar phenomenon that had been pulsing gently in the distance suddenly flared with brilliant intensity. Both ships shuddered as gravitational waves washed over them, causing the lights to flicker ominously. Ambassador Zara called out as the communication feed wavered, "Our ships are being pulled toward the anomaly. We need to coordinate our escape before it's too late." On the screen, she could see Kithian's ship listing as it fought against the gravitational pull. His markings now blazed with what she instinctively recognized as concern and determination. "Captain Phoenix," he replied, his melodic voice strained with effort. "Our engines are failing. The anomaly is unlike anything in our databases. Perhaps our species' combined knowledge could find a solution." Without hesitation, Zara made a decision that would change everything. "Permission to beam aboard our ship, Ambassador. Will work together to get both our vessels to safety." General Thorne, who had been observing silently from the corner of the bridge, stepped forward with a disapproving frown. His weathered face and steel-gray hair spoke of decades of military service, an inherent distrust of alien intentions. "Captain, protocol dictates that we maintain safe distance during first contact procedures," he warned, his gravelly voice filled with caution. Zara met his gaze steadily. "Protocol doesn't account for imminent mutual destruction, General. Sometimes survival requires taking calculated risks." The transporter beam shimmered to life on the bridge, and Ambassador Kithian materialized before them. Standing in person, he was even more magnificent than the view screen had revealed. He towered over the humans at nearly 7 feet tall, his presence filling the bridge with an aura of otherworldly grace and power. Dr. Vasquez approached with her tricorder, scanning eagerly. Fascinating. Your cellular structure appears to be silicon-based rather than carbon. How do you survive in oxygen-rich environments? Our bodies adapt, Kithion replied, though his glowing eyes remained fixed on Zara. We are more resilient than we appear. As the two ships continued to struggle against the anomaly's pull, Zara found herself working alongside the alien ambassador at the science station. Their hands occasionally brushed as they manipulated the controls, and each contact sent electric tingles up her arms. She noticed that whenever they touched, the bioluminescent patterns on his skin pulsed more brightly. Your people's technology is remarkably elegant, she observed, studying the holographic displays he had activated. It's almost organic in its design. We believe technology should flow like life itself, Kithion explained, his voice softer. Now, as they worked in close proximity, rigid structures break under pressure, but flexible ones bend and survive. Their eyes met across the console, and Zara felt something shift in the air between them. Despite the danger surrounding their ships, despite the fact that they were different species from different worlds, there was an undeniable attraction building between them. Captain, Dr. Vasquez called excitedly, I think I've found something. The ambassador's people have encountered similar anomalies before. If we combine our deflector array with their harmonic resonance technology, we might be able to disrupt the gravitational field. Working together with increasing synchronization, the human and Nexari crews implemented the hybrid solution. Zara stood beside Kithion as they initiated the sequence, their shoulders touching as they reached for the same control simultaneously. Together, he said quietly, his glowing eyes meeting hers with an intensity that made her breath catch. Together, she agreed, her voice barely a whisper, as their hands joined on the control interface. A surge of energy flowed between them that had nothing to do with the ship's systems. The anomaly began to destabilize, its gravitational pull weakening as the combined technologies worked their magic. Both ships broke free from the stellar trap, drifting to safety as the phenomenon collapsed in on itself, leaving only a faint shimmer in space where it had been, in the aftermath. As the crews celebrated their survival, Zara found herself standing alone with Kithion in the ship's observation lounge. The stars stretched out before them through the massive viewport, a reminder of the vast distances that separated their worlds. Thank you, she said softly, for trusting us enough to beam aboard. Without your people's knowledge, we both would have been lost. Kithion turned to face her, his luminescent skin casting a gentle glow in the dimmed lighting. Thank you for taking the risk to save both our peoples. It shows a courage and compassion that gives me hope for our future relations. The patterns on his skin were pulsing in slow, hypnotic waves, and Zara found herself mesmerized by their beauty. What do they mean? She asked, gesturing to the markings. The patterns. Expression grew thoughtful. Among my people, they reveal truth when words might deceive. Now they show that I am experiencing something I have never felt before. What's that? Zara asked, though something in her heart already knew the answer. Attraction to someone. From another world, he admitted, his voice carrying a note of wonder and confusion. Someone whose courage and beauty transcend the boundaries of species. Zara felt her cheeks flush with warmth. The admission should have shocked her, should have triggered all her training about maintaining professional distance during diplomatic missions. Instead, she found herself stepping closer to him. I feel it too, she confessed, her voice barely above a whisper. This connection between us, it's impossible to ignore. Kithion reached out slowly, giving her time to pull away if she chose. When she didn't, his fingertips brushed against her cheek with infinite gentleness. His skin was warm and seemed to tingle with subtle energy. Your species calls it chemistry. I believe, he said softly. We have a similar concept, though our word translates more closely to soul recognition. Before either of them could second-guess the moment, Zara rose on her toes and pressed her lips to his. The kiss was gentle at first, tentative and questioning. But when Kithion responded with equal tenderness, It deepened into something more profound when they finally parted. Both were breathing heavily, and the patterns on Kithian's skin were glowing more brightly than ever before. "This complicates everything," Zara whispered, though she made no move to step away from his embrace. "Yes," he agreed, his arms tightening around her slightly. "But perhaps some complications are worth embracing." As they stood together in the starlight, neither could know that their forbidden attraction would soon ignite conflicts that would threaten both their civilizations, that their love would ultimately become the key to saving both species from destruction. The diplomatic mission had succeeded in more ways than one. But the real journey was just beginning. The diplomatic reception aboard the Nexari's flagship Starweaver was a spectacle beyond human imagination. Captain Zara Phoenix moved through the crystalline corridors that seemed to pulse with living light, her formal dress uniform feeling inadequate among the flowing, luminescent garments of the Nexari delegates. The ship itself appeared grown rather than built, its organic curves and bioluminescent panels creating an atmosphere of otherworldly beauty. 3 weeks had passed since the stellar anomaly incident, and the initial diplomatic talks had progressed smoothly. Too smoothly, perhaps, because beneath the surface of professional courtesy, Zara and Ambassador Kithian had been stealing moments together whenever possible. Secret meetings in empty conference rooms, brief touches during formal presentations, messages disguised as diplomatic correspondence. Their connection had only grown stronger, but so had the danger of discovery. "Captain Phoenix," a melodic voice called from behind her. Zara turned to see High Priestess Selenia approaching, her robes shimmering like captured starlight in the Nexari. Spiritual leader was ancient by their standards, her bioluminescent patterns having faded to a subtle silver that spoke of great wisdom and power. "Her Imperial Majesty wishes to speak with you." Following Selenia through the ship's grand atrium, Zara marveled at the massive tree-like structure that grew through the center of the vessel, its branches extending into every level. Crew members tended to glowing fruit that served as both decoration and ship's provisions, their movements graceful and unhurried. The throne room took Zara's breath away. Empress Virlith sat upon a seat that appeared to be carved from a single massive crystal, her regal bearing unmistakable even by human standards. Unlike other Nexari, her skin held deeper hues of blue and silver, and her patterns formed intricate mandalas that shifted and changed as she moved. Her eyes, ancient and knowing, fixed upon Zara with an intensity that made the human captain feel exposed. "Captain Phoenix," the Empress spoke, her voice carrying harmonics that seemed to resonate in Zara's very bones. "Please, sit with me. We have much to discuss." As Zara took the offered chair, she noticed Kithian standing among the other court advisors. Their eyes met briefly, and she saw concern flickering in his luminous gaze. His patterns had shifted to muted tones. What she had learned indicated anxiety among his people. "Your presence here has been most illuminating, Empress," Virlith continued, her piercing gaze never leaving Zara's face. The harmony between human and Nexari technology during the anomaly crisis showed promising potential for our alliance. "Honored by your people's willingness to share knowledge." "Your Majesty," Zara replied carefully, sensing underlying currents in the conversation. The Empress leaned forward slightly. "Tell me, Captain, what do you think of our Ambassador Kithian? Has he served as an adequate representative of our people?" Zara's heart began to race, but she kept her expression neutral. "Ambassador Kithian has been exemplary in every respect. His diplomatic skills and knowledge have been invaluable to the success of these negotiations." "Indeed," the Empress mused, her eyes glittering with what might have been amusement or suspicion. "He has certainly been dedicated to ensuring close cooperation between our species." Before Zara could respond, Commander Blake Harrison's voice crackled through her communicator. "Captain, urgent message from Earth Command. Private channel requested." "Excuse me, Your Majesty," Zara said, rising from her chair. "May I take this transmission in private?" The Empress waved her hand graciously. "Of course, Kithian, please. Escort the captain to secure chambers." As they walked through the ship's corridors, Kithian moved close beside her, his concern evident in the rapid pulsing of his skin patterns. "Zara, I fear we may have been discovered. The Empress has been asking pointed questions about human customs regarding personal relationships. We knew this was risky, Zara whispered back, glancing around to ensure they weren't overheard. But Blake's message might be unrelated. Let's not panic yet. In the private chamber, Zara activated her communicator to find Commander Harrison's grim face filling the screen. His usually composed expression showed strain, and his dark eyes held troubling news. Captain, we've intercepted communications from an Exoria faction that opposes the Alliance, he reported without preamble. There are elements within their government who believe humans are inferior and potentially dangerous. They're looking for any excuse to terminate negotiations. Zara felt a chill run down her spine. What kind of excuse, Blake? Intelligence suggests they're monitoring all interactions between human and Nexari personnel, looking for breaches of protocol or signs of inappropriate fraternization. The way he emphasized the last word made it clear he suspected something. I see, Zara replied carefully, aware that Kithion was listening to every word. Captain, Blake continued, his voice softer now. I've known you for 5 years. The most dedicated officer I've ever served with, but you're also human. These are extraordinary circumstances, and if you've formed any personal connections, you need to be extremely careful. Both species are depending on these talks succeeding. After ending the transmission, Zara sat in silence for a long moment, feeling the weight of responsibility crushing down upon her. When she finally looked up, Kithion was watching her with an expression of infinite sadness. We must end this, she said quietly, though the words felt like daggers in her heart. The Alliance is too important. Both our peoples need this treaty. Kithion moved closer, his hand reaching out to touch her face with the same gentleness he had shown during their first kiss. Do you truly believe we can simply turn off what exists between us? This connection transcends mere attraction, Zara. My people have a saying. The heart recognizes its match across the void of stars. Despite her resolve, Zara leaned into his touch, savoring what might be their last moment of intimacy. Your people also have political factions that would use our relationship to destroy everything we've worked for.
Oh.
Then we must be more careful, Kithion insisted, his patterns flaring with determined gold. Meet me tonight in the hydroponics bay. Sector 7 is automated and rarely monitored. Against her better judgment, Zara found herself nodding. The rational part of her mind screamed warnings. But her heart had already made the decision that evening. Zara made her way through the ship's dimly lit corridors, every shadow seeming to hide potential witnesses. The hydroponics bay was a wonder of Nexari biotechnology, filled with plants that glowed softly in the artificial night cycle. The air was humid and sweet with the scent of exotic flowers. She found Kithion, tending to a vine that produced crystalline fruit, his movements meditative and graceful. In the soft light of the growing plants, he looked more beautiful than ever, and Zara felt her resolve weakening. I shouldn't be here, she whispered as he turned to face her. Yet here you are, he replied, closing the distance between them. As am I, despite every logical reason to stay away. They came together like opposing forces, finally surrendering to gravity, their kiss desperate and hungry. Zara tangled her fingers in his silken hair, while his hands traced the curve of her spine, both of them trying to memorize every sensation. I dream of you, Kithion, murmured against her lips. Even during meditation when I should be achieving perfect mental clarity, your face appears in my consciousness. This is madness, Zara breathed, even as she pulled him closer. We're risking everything. Perhaps some things are worth the risk, he replied, echoing his words from their first encounter. They spent hours together among the glowing plants, talking softly about their worlds, their hopes, their fears. Kithion told her of Nexus Prime's twin suns and the singing crystals that grew in its polar regions. Zara shared stories of Earth's oceans and the way snow looked, falling through city lights at night. As dawn approached in the ship's artificial cycle, they reluctantly prepared to part. It was then that High Priestess Selenia emerged from the shadows, her ancient eyes taking in the scene with calm assessment. Young ones, she said softly, her voice carrying no judgment, only sadness. Love that blooms between worlds often bears the heaviest price. Zara felt her blood turn to ice. Priestess, I can explain. Selenia raised a hand for silence. There's no need for explanations. The heart's truth shines brighter than any words. She looked between them with something that might have been compassion. But you should know that you are not as unobserved as you believed. Kithion stepped protectively in front of Zara. If you mean to report this to the Empress, I report only to the Cosmic Order, Selenia interrupted gently. But others are less discreetly inclined. Prince Zorian has been documenting what he calls evidence of human corruption of Nexari purity. The name struck Kithion like a physical blow. Prince Zorian was his political rival, a warhawk who believed the Nexari Empire should expand through conquest rather than alliance. If he had evidence of their relationship, he would use it to undermine both the treaty and Kithion's position. What do we do? Zara asked, her voice barely a whisper. Selenia studied them both for a long moment. Truth has a way of revealing itself, regardless of our attempts at concealment. Perhaps it is time to stop hiding and start fighting for what you believe in. The next day brought crisis. Prince Zorian stood before the assembled Nexari court and human delegation, his metallic blue skin patterns blazing with righteous indignation. Behind him, holographic displays showed surveillance footage of Zara and Kithion's meetings, their stolen kisses, their intimate conversations. Honored Empress Zorian declared, his voice carrying across the great hall. I present evidence of the humans' true intentions. They seek not alliance but domination, using their primitive biological urges to corrupt our noble ambassador. General. Thorn shot to his feet from the human delegation, his face red with anger. How dare you accuse Captain Phoenix of impropriety? She is an officer of impeccable character, yet she engages in inappropriate relations with our diplomatic representative. Zorian countered smoothly. This proves that humans cannot be trusted to honor proper boundaries. Empress Virolith sat silent upon her crystal throne, her patterns shifting through complex configurations that were unreadable to the humans present. When she finally spoke, her voice carried the weight of imperial judgment. Ambassador Kithion, she called, her ancient eyes fixing upon him. What say you two? These accusations? Kithion rose from his position among the advisors, his head held high despite the gravity of the situation. His patterns had settled into the deep, steady glow that indicated absolute honesty among his people. Your Majesty, he began, his melodic voice carrying clearly through the hall, I stand accused of forming an emotional bond with Captain Phoenix. This accusation is true. Gasps echoed from both delegations. Zara felt her world tilting as Kithion continued. But I do not stand accused of betraying my people or corrupting our mission. The connection between Captain Phoenix and myself has only strengthened my belief that our species can coexist in harmony. She has shown me that courage, compassion, and honor exist in humans just as they do in Nexori. Prince Zorian's patterns flared with anger. You admit to being compromised by alien influence. I admit to learning that understanding transcends the boundaries of species, Kithion replied firmly. If this is compromise, then I embrace it gladly. Empress Virel had raised her hand for silence, her gaze now turning to Zara. Captain Phoenix, you have heard the evidence presented and Ambassador Kithion's admission. How do you answer these charges? Zara stood, her heart pounding, but her voice steady. Your Majesty, I cannot deny that I have formed deep feelings for Ambassador Kithion. But I reject any suggestion that these feelings have compromised my duty or my people's interests. If anything, knowing him has only increased my respect for the Nexari people and my commitment to our alliance. Pretty words, Prince Zorian sneered, but actions speak louder. You have violated diplomatic protocol, and enough, the Empress said quietly, but her voice carried such authority that the entire hall fell silent. She rose from her throne, her impressive height and regal bearing commanding absolute attention. The court will reassess while we consider this matter. All parties will remain aboard this vessel until a decision is reached. As the assembly dispersed, Zara found herself surrounded by her own delegation. General Thorn's expression was a mixture of disappointment and pragmatic concern. Captain, regardless of your personal feelings, this situation may have doomed the Alliance, he said grimly. Earth Command will not be pleased. Dr. Vasquez, however, placed a supportive hand on Zara's shoulder. Perhaps it's not as hopeless as it seems. The Empress didn't immediately terminate negotiations. That evening, as Zara paced her assigned quarters, a soft chime indicated a visitor. To her surprise, High Priestess Selenia entered, carrying what appeared to be a glowing crystal orb. Priestess Zara said, rising quickly. I didn't expect peace, child, Selenia said gently, settling herself in a chair that seemed to conform to her ancient form. I bring word from the Empress, though not the kind you might expect. The old priestess held up the crystal orb, which pulsed with soft, rhythmic light. This is a truth stone, used in our most sacred ceremonies. It reveals the authentic nature of one's intentions and emotions. Zara stared at the artifact uncertainly. I don't understand. Her Imperial Majesty has decided that your fate and that of the Alliance will be determined not by political maneuvering, but by spiritual truth. Tomorrow, both you and Kithion will undergo the ritual of hearts revealing. What does that mean? Zara asked, though something in the priestess's tone made her apprehensive. Selenia's expression grew solemn. You will be joined with the Truth Stone, and it will reveal the authentic nature of your connection. If your bond is based on mere physical attraction or political manipulation, it will be exposed, and both you and Kithion will face severe consequences. Zara felt her mouth go dry. And if it's genuine, then perhaps even Prince Zorian will be forced to acknowledge that love can exist between species, Selenia replied. But be warned, child. The ritual is not without danger. Some who have undergone it had been changed by the experience. After the priestess left, Zara sat alone with her racing thoughts. Tomorrow would determine not just her own fate, but potentially the future relationship between two civilizations. The stars through her quarter's viewport, she wondered if love truly could bridge the vast distances between worlds. The grand temple aboard the Starweaver was a marvel that defied both human understanding and Nexari convention. Ancient beyond measure, it existed in a state of controlled temporal flux, its crystalline walls shifting between past and future while remaining anchored in the eternal present. As Captain Zara Phoenix was led into the sacred space by High Priestess Selenia, she felt the weight of countless generations bearing witness to this moment. The assembled crowd was unprecedented in diplomatic history. Representatives from both species filled the temple's organic galleries, their faces reflecting mixtures of curiosity, skepticism, and hope. Empress Viroleth sat upon a throne of living crystal that had grown specifically for this ceremony, while Prince Zorian stood with barely concealed contempt radiating from his metallic patterns. Dr. Elena Vasquez squeezed Zara's hand as they reached the temple's center. Whatever happens in there, remember that you're representing the best of humanity, she whispered. Your courage brought us this far. Admiral Victoria Cross, who had arrived from Earth just hours before, stood rigid with military precision. Her weathered face showed decades of command decisions, but even her vast experience couldn't have prepared her for this situation. Captain Phoenix, she said quietly, Earth stands behind you, whatever the outcome. Commander Blake Harrison caught Zara's eye from across the temple and nodded once, a gesture of absolute faith that meant more to her than any words could have conveyed. K.Y. Theon stood at the opposite end of the ceremonial circle, resplendent in robes that seemed woven from starlight itself. His bioluminescent patterns were cycling through complex configurations that spoke of deep meditation and spiritual preparation. When their eyes met across the sacred space, Zara felt the familiar electric connection that had first drawn them. Together, High Priestess Selenia moved to the center of the circle, her ancient voice carrying clearly through the hushed temple. We gather today to witness the ritual of hearts revealing, a sacred ceremony that has not been performed between species in the recorded history of our people. She raised the truth stone, which had grown to the size of a person's head, its faceted surface pulsing with inner fire. This crystal was born in the heart of our homeworld's primary star, Forged in cosmic fire and blessed by the collective consciousness of our ancestors. It cannot be deceived, cannot be bargained with, and shows only the absolute truth of one's deepest nature. Prince Zorian stepped forward, his patterns blazing with righteous purpose. Your Imperial Majesty, I call upon you to remember the pure bloodlines of our people. To allow this corruption is to invite chaos into our ordered society. Silence, Empress Virolith commanded, her voice carrying harmonics that seemed to shake the very foundations of the temple. The ritual will proceed. Selenia began to chant in the ancient Nixari tongue, her words creating visible ripples of energy in the air around the Truth Stone. Slowly, the crystal began to levitate, spinning gracefully as it rose to hover above the ceremonial circle.
Captain.
Phoenix Ambassador Kithion approached the stone. The priestess instructed as they moved toward each other in the floating crystal. Zara felt reality beginning to shift around her. The temple walls seemed to pulse with life, and she could swear she heard whispers in languages that predated both their civilizations. Place your hands upon the Truth Stone, Selenia commanded, and let your souls speak without the filter of conscious thought. The moment Zara's fingers touched the crystal's surface, the world exploded into sensation. She felt Kithion's consciousness merge with hers, their thoughts and emotions flowing together like streams joining a river. But more than that, she experienced every moment of their relationship from his perspective as well as her own. She felt his wonder during their first meeting. The way her courage in the face of the stellar anomaly had ignited something in his ancient soul. She experienced his struggle with duty versus desire, his sleepless nights spent composing messages he never sent, his growing certainty that she represented something unprecedented in his long life. Through the crystal's power, Zara relived their stolen moments together, but now she felt them amplified by Kithion's emotions as well as her own. Their first kiss became a symphony of sensation. Their quiet conversations in the hydroponics bay transformed into profound exchanges of souls, recognizing their perfect complement. But the stone showed more than just their personal connection. Visions flashed through both their minds of possible futures, some bright with the promise of interspecies cooperation, others dark with the ashes of failed alliance and war between their peoples. In one vision, they saw themselves standing together before a mixed assembly of humans and Nexari, their union having become a symbol of successful integration between species. Children played at their feet, beautiful beings who carried the best traits of both races, representing hope for a truly unified future. In another darker vision, they witnessed Prince Zorian leading Nexari warships against Earth's defensive fleet. Their forbidden love, having been used as justification for conquest and subjugation, the Truth Stone pulsed brighter, its light now filling the entire temple with radiance that revealed hidden truths. Every being present found their deepest motivations laid bare under its cosmic illumination. Prince Zorian's hatred was revealed to stem not from species purity, but from his own failed bond with a Nexari female who had chosen another. His prejudice against humans masked a deeper fear of emotional vulnerability. Admiral Mandrel Cross's stern military exterior cracked to show a woman who had sacrificed personal happiness for duty, who saw in Zara's courage the daughter she had never had time to raise. Dr. Vasquez's scientific curiosity was revealed to spring from a profound loneliness, her dedication to understanding other species born from her struggle to understand herself. But at the center of it all, the stone focused its revelatory power on Zara and Kithion's bond. Their connection blazed like a small star, showing not mere attraction or even love, but something rarer and more precious. True recognition between kindred souls. The crystal's voice, ancient and wise beyond mortal understanding, spoke directly into their minds. What stands before us is not corruption, but evolution. Not the weakness of individuals, but the strength of species learning to transcend their limitations. This bond was not created by circumstance, but revealed by it. Virolith rose from her throne, her own patterns now blazing with awe and recognition. The Truth Stone has spoken. This connection between our people's representatives is genuine and pure, untainted by political manipulation or base desire. Prince Zorian staggered backward, his metallic patterns flickering with confusion and dawning understanding.
But the...
Implications. The precedent this sets. The precedent. The Empress interrupted, is that connection transcends the arbitrary boundaries we create. Ambassador Kithion, Captain Phoenix, your bond has been blessed by the cosmic order itself. As the Truth Stone's light began to fade, Zara and Kithion found themselves still connected, still able to sense each other's thoughts and emotions. Crystal had not just revealed their bond, but strengthened it, creating a permanent link between their minds and hearts. High Priestess Selenia approached them with tears of joy gleaming in her ancient eyes. The ritual has granted you something unprecedented, a true melding of consciousness across species. You are no longer just human and Nexari, but something new, something evolved. Admiral Cross stepped forward, her military bearings softened by. Wonder, Captain, what you've accomplished here goes beyond diplomacy. You've proven that connection doesn't recognize the boundaries of biology or culture. Dr. Vasquez was practically vibrating with excitement. The implications for both our species are extraordinary. This could represent the next step in conscious evolution. But it was Empress Virelith who provided the most significant response. Let it be recorded in the imperial annals that this day marks not just an alliance between the Nexari Empire and humanity, but the beginning of a new era of interspecies unity. Ambassador Kithion, you will establish a permanent embassy on Earth. Captain Phoenix, who will serve as humanity's first interspecies liaison. Prince Zorian, his opposition crumbling under the weight of cosmic truth, bowed deeply. Your Imperial Majesty, I acknowledge my errors. If the Truth Stone recognizes this bond as pure, then I was wrong to oppose it. As the ceremony concluded and the various delegations began to disperse, Zara and Kithion stood together in the temple's center, still marveling at their transformed connection. They could feel each other's presence like a warm light in their consciousness, a permanent reminder that they were no longer alone in the universe. What happens now? Zara asked, though through their new bond, she could already sense Kithion's thoughts. Now we prove that love truly can bridge any distance, he replied, taking her hand. We build the future we saw in the stone's visions. Months later, the joint human-Nexari colony of New Harmony thrived on a previously uninhabited world at the border between their territories. The settlement served as a living laboratory for interspecies cooperation, with humans and Nexari working together to create something neither could achieve alone. Zara stood on the colony's observation deck, watching the twin suns set over the crystalline spires that housed both species in perfect integration. Kithion approached from behind, his presence warm and comforting in her mind before his arms encircled her waist. The first group of human Nexari hybrid children will be born next month, he murmured against her ear. Dr. Vasquez says they'll possess capabilities neither species has ever exhibited. Through their bond, Zara felt his wonder and excitement. A new kind of being for a new kind of future, she replied, leaning back against his solid warmth. Their own wedding had been a celebration unlike anything either species had ever witnessed. With representatives from dozens of worlds attending to witness the union that had changed the course of galactic history, the ceremony had combined human and Nexari traditions, creating something beautiful and unprecedented. The Earth Council approved the expansion proposal Zara shared, feeling his instant surge of joy through their connection. 12 more joint colonies within the next 5 years.
Oh, man.
And the Nexari High Command has agreed to share our most advanced biotechnology, Kithion added. Your people's ingenuity, combined with our organic sciences, will revolutionize both civilizations. As the stars began to appear in the darkening sky, they stood together in comfortable silence, their minds and hearts perfectly synchronized. Around them, new harmony pulsed with life and possibility, a testament to what could be achieved when different species chose connection over conflict. The Truthstone had shown them that love was not just an emotion, but a force of evolution, capable of transcending any barrier and creating unprecedented possibilities. Their story had become legend among both humans and Nexari, proof that the universe's greatest achievements came not from conquest, but from unity. In the distance, children's laughter echoed through the colony's bioluminescent gardens, the sound carrying the promise of a future where the boundaries between species would continue to blur and ultimately disappear. Zara and Kithion's love had become the foundation upon which an entirely new form of civilization was being built, one where the vast distances between worlds mattered far less than the connections between hearts. Their night without names or promises had become an eternal bond that would echo through the stars for generations to come, proving that sometimes the most profound destinies begin with a single moment of recognition across the infinite void. Sonnet 4.